Welcome back to the Drop Pod, a Warhammer 40k podcast. I'm your host, Garrett. I'm usually joined by Blake, but Blake cannot make it today. Instead, Matt is with me. Matt is like the local. He's more into the books than I am. He's read way more than I have.
Quite a few.
Yeah, and I've read I think I'm at 60 something now, but he's like way beyond that. He's at the time on me for sure. We're talking about, the one book, the one we've all been waiting for like 18 years.
Forever.
Yeah, it's a long time.
I can't even tell you the last time.
Yeah. The End and the Death, Volume 3, the last book in the Horus Heresy. I was looking up. I gotta feel like the Horus Heresy is pushing like the all-time longest book series.
So we just had this discussion not long ago. I don't believe it is. But I do think it's the largest multi-group author series ever written.
Really?
Yeah, I think it passed like BattleTech and Dragonlance and all that.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's like a huge scope of work. I saw a post of the word count. It was like 8 million words or something like that in the entire thing.
In the whole thing?
Yeah.
I feel like there'd be more.
That's what you would think, but a million is a pretty big number.
What do you figure? How much is in that last book that Dan wrote?
I don't know.
It's got around like 200,000.
Yeah, it's got to be something pretty big.
Yeah.
His books, all the Siege of Terror books were big books.
Monsters.
Yeah. So much going on. So
much.
Before we get into it, though, what are you working on?
Imperial Guard. I still got to finish my World Eaters, do all the edge highlights on the armor again, because that's what I like to make myself suffer.
Yeah.
And what am I still working on? Nothing 30K related right now. I think that's it. Yeah, just Imperial Guard and World Eaters.
Okay.
Yeah, Space Marines are on the back burner for now. Oh, Dark Angels. Yeah, I started, but I don't want to talk about it.
Don't want to talk about it.
It's just,
Speaking of Dark Angels, I ordered that box.
You did?
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago. Still not here. Today is 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, still not here.
My buddy got his like a week after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, don't know what's going on there. Gotta look into that.
Yeah, I would definitely look into that.
So, the problem was I was busy during the day, and I was like, Blake, you gotta, I was trying to get to it. I was on my phone, and I was like, can you just do me a solid and see if you can order this for me? And he did. He got that in the Pariah Nexus book, which I also want because it's like the newest lore.
Yeah.
Want to go over it on the podcast. But he did it, and then it's he said, yeah, they said it's going to ship in 2 weeks, and he just sent me a thing saying it was on the way yesterday.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like it's a problem unique to Games Workshop. I feel like most multi-billion-dollar companies could figure that out.
Oh, I started the Lion book off your recommendation.
Yeah.
That's what I went into right after I got done finishing.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I need something. So.
Yeah. How do you like it so far?
It's good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like the reader as much as I like the previous reader, so.
Yeah. I was a little bit skeptical at first, but I think he really comes into it by the end.
Okay.
That's it. Kind of grew on me as I went along.
Okay.
So you're on the Lion book. I stopped in the middle of the Emperor's Legion. Well, basically at the end of it, because End of the Death Volume 3 came out.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I finished that, and now I got to go back and finish the Emperor's Legion. What am I going to do after that? I don't know. I have a whole list during that sale. I could do that. I have a whole list of shit in my library that I just bought one day because they were all on sale for $3.
Did you get into Necropolis yet or no?
I listened to Necropolis.
Did you like it?
Yes.
Okay, so you see what I was telling you about.
Yes, it's very good.
Very good flow, and it's got that I kind of felt like that's Dan's first Siege book, And
yeah.
It's let's go bring this to Terra.
Yeah. I have a hard time with keeping all the characters in Gaunt's Ghosts straight in my head.
So I remember hearing an interview about this. I don't know how true this was, or someone had written this. There's 104 main characters, and there's around 300 total characters that you interact with throughout the series.
No shit.
But luckily, Dan loves killing the ones you like the most. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, he's great at that.
Yeah.
Great at murdering.
So, I'm looking at my thing. Got to finish Emperor's Legion, and then after that, probably Straight Silver or War Boss. One of the two.
Oh, Straight Silver's really good.
Is it?
It's like a World War I tribute.
Yeah.
It's all trenches and everything else. So.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Very brutal.
Okay. I'll have to do that one. As far as what I'm working on, another night. Questoris night.
Yeah, it's looking good over there.
A big project. It's a big little project.
How many hours do you have in your first night, you think?
I'm thinking 40.
That's pretty good.
PJ.
That's solid, man.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's a lot. It's sometimes it's really wears you down because you're just not, it doesn't seem like you're getting anything done.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it all comes together, you're like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I like how you did it in sessions. When I did my night, I was stubborn and I said, I'm going to paint this and paint it.
Yeah.
And I was very regretful afterwards.
Yeah, you have to. I keep all the armor plates separate. The skeleton's its own thing. All the armor's separate. Weapons are separate. They're all magnetized. It's kind of a pain in the balls, to be honest with you. When you're done with it, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, it looks good right now.
Yeah.
It's just black.
Yeah. You see my other one on the shelf up there?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. I did buy because I was totally expecting them to change the Calidus Assassin in the last day. I know this is kind of like out of your world. Not really into the super meta competitive side. I'm not super into it either, but it does sort of influence my purchases. And I was like, Calidus is going to change. They didn't change it. I was like, wow, that's interesting. You can't buy them. It's like $60 if you want one. And it's a fucking like fine cast or something. It's a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's a horrible model.
Yeah, so I bought the kill team, the Elucidian Star Striders, and there's one miniature in there that's like an assassin. And I'm just gonna like same price. I'll just get a whole box of miniatures instead.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm gonna use for Calidus.
Cool. Like, why are assassins big right now? I like I said, I've been out of the meta.
So the Calidus is like, it's kind of ridiculous how much of an auto included it is for any like Imperium army. Okay. Like it just does, like it has deep strikes, so deep strikes and infiltrates, so it just goes anywhere. But then because it has deep strike, it can pull off not because it has deep strike, but it has a rule that lets it come off the board at the end of your opponent's turn and then just come down somewhere else with deep strike, like it's coming out of reserves. Oh. And it has lone operative, so you can't shoot it within unless you're within 12 inches. And it has fights first.
Okay.
So it's just like and a 4-up involved. So it's just like crazy good scoring. It's like everyone just takes it just to score points.
Games Workshop way of making you buy things that you like, and then a month from now
you can't even
worthless.
Get them. Yeah,
it'll be worthless in a month.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's like with knights, you like have to have something like that because otherwise it's like, oh, I'm gonna do an action with my like a 150 point model or a 400 point model, God forbid. But
yeah, how many points are armigers? They're 150.
The Helverians went down to 140 because they're worse than the Warglaive, and the Warglaive stayed at 150. So like my list right now is 2 big ones, 6 small ones, the Vindicare Assassin, the Calidus Assassin, and like 4 Inquisitorial Henchmen or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can include it, and there's enough left to put a Demon Host with them. So
is that the new book that's coming out? I heard a rumor that the new book for a new codex will be the Agents of the Imperium.
That is the rumor, which is kind of dumb. Like,
yeah, why would you want to even build an army around that?
Yeah, like why do they need their own?
Yeah, it's whatever.
It's not like a cohesive thing. Like, where are you going to get assassins and inquisitors and voidsmen and all this other shit all at the same place at the same time? Like Adeptus RB is like, what is it going? Like, why are they all there?
Yeah.
So I don't know if
Here, Games Workshop. Here's a shout out for you. How about you make a new faction in general? We could use a new alien faction.
Yeah, the Votan didn't quite scratch the itch, and they're just.
No, I want something terrifying.
Yeah.
I want like the Rangdan.
Yeah, something sick and like just totally twisted and demented.
Just wicked, and you can make Tyranids look like they're trash.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Yep. Okay. We gotta talk about it. We can't put it off any longer.
Oh, here we go.
There's so much to digest.
Spoiler
in
alert.
this book. Yeah.
Big one.
Big
one. Yeah, because we're gonna talk about everything.
A lot of stuff changes. There's old lore that's changed a little bit. It's gonna be like deep dive. So there's no holding back. So if you're gonna listen to the book or plan on listening to it or are listening to it, whatever, stop listening to us right now. Yeah.
So we're gonna go through it.
Yeah.
Ah, man. So I loved how it started off with Gilliman personally.
Yeah.
Putting that recording in, being like, "Hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Tell us where you are." Because think how crazy that is. How much of that warp storm is going on, around Terra.
Yeah.
That they can't even see the planet.
Yeah.
They don't even know where it is.
They don't even know where they are, like in the system.
No, they're
like, I can't even triangulate a position because everything's so fucked up.
So messed up. And then I think one of the coolest parts was like we have, and they're like the Sensorium guys were like, "Oh, we have a sighting of a ship," and they're like, "Oh, it's a vengeful spirit," and everyone's like, "Let's go get him," and then like, "Wait a minute. There's another vengeful spirit, and another vengeful spirit." And we were just talking about this before the show, how that's just Horus's, like, I interpret that as Horus's brain fracturing so much that the vengeful spirit is just kind of like shattering and going out into all these different points of the galaxy, or just the soul system. Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on there, but I think that's probably a pretty solid interpretation. He's like so steeped in the warp, he can't handle it anymore. Yeah. And we get to, and he, by the end, we'll figure, he's maybe has some regrets about it. So it goes to, it starts off with Abrute, and then it cuts to, I think, Perturabo, and then Lorgar. Yeah. Kind of catches up with all the Primarchs that are not there.
Currently active in the whole thing.
Exactly. Except for, like, notably Mortarion and Fulgrim, who are demons, demon Primarchs, so they're probably just trying to recoalesce in the warp somewhere.
Yeah, because Morty got smoked by Khan, so.
Yeah. And I can't remember, did Dorn, like, I don't think he banished Fulgrim. Fulgrim was like, fuck this, I'm out of here, right?
Fulgrim got annoyed because Dorn wouldn't listen, so he flew away. This little snake fly thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's you know what it's just That
the snake fly.
Saturnitis.
Yeah, it's like a snake on water, but in the air.
In the air, exactly.
Yeah.
Just throwing the bird as he's flying away.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a little disappointed with the whole tantrum thing going on when he just started going like nuts. And
it was kind of like, this is what you like. This is Perturabo, but a little more so than before. It was just him kind of sulking and throwing temper tantrum,
being the child that he is. He's being a man child.
Yeah.
That part right there, I was like, oh come on, dude, just put down the bottle and the binky. And just admit that you messed up. You should have just stuck it out.
Yeah, stuck it out. If you were really committed to the cause.
He never was.
It seems like he's very self-interested.
100%.
That's why he like could not put his self-interest aside long enough to like stick around to finish the job. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love the Iron Warriors, but
yeah, they are great. Would it have changed the outcome? Probably, because I feel like he has a
100%.
really large force. I mean, humongous force.
The largest, next to Ultramarines. Yeah. So I feel like if he had stuck around, I think the Siege of Terror would have been a much different ending.
Yeah. So thankfully he didn't.
Yeah.
Or maybe thankfully, maybe not thankfully. I don't know what
how
happens
you look at
there.
it. How you look at
I don't
it.
know what happens there. I will say that I think someday when the Iron Warriors get their moment in the moonlight, as far as models in like Games Workshop and that whole sphere goes.
Don't do it. Don't do it to me. He's not a Demon Primarch.
He is a Demon Primarch.
I don't want him to be a Demon Primarch.
And I'm gonna have an Iron Warriors army. I feel like they can be pulled off so easy. Like the whole metal thing just lends itself so easily.
You saw my 30K army. I mean,
they're awesome.
That was 3 months.
Yeah,
and it's super easy.
Yeah,
so I'll write down what I did and just pass it to you. You can take it from there.
It's amazing. So
then we go to Lorgar.
Yeah, Lorgar is.
So I have some things to talk about there. That planet that he's on is remember you read the Ravnor books, right?
Yes.
Okay, you remember the book where Thorn wishes Talon, or the short story?
Okay, yeah.
And so they go to that planet where they do the seeing in the glass, where they remove one of their eyes, the cultists do, and then they have to like shine this silver by hand, and they can't get their eye, they can't get an augmatic until they get the thing so they can see it.
I don't remember that. It's like
been a while. Okay,
yeah, been a while.
So I was wondering if this is the same planet, because this is Dan.
Yeah,
you know,
and he does it later in the book, like multiple times. Like is like, oh, this translates to that.
Yes,
different times. Yeah,
100%. So I was wondering, I'm like, hey, is this that planet? And like we're seeing like the reflections in the future of like Dan's work and the role from the past, obviously. But.
Yeah, I was assuming that it was probably the planet that becomes his demon planet or whatever.
Oh, that's a good assumption too. Yeah, because
I don't know if it is or not.
I know exactly where Lorgar goes after, because all I know is that Korax does chase him down. Yeah,
I don't think it is, because it can't be, because I think his demon planet is actually in the Eye of Terror.
Yeah.
So this is not his demon planet I'm going to go with.
Okay.
So, but he's doing Lorgar things on his planet, on his whatever planet he's on. Like they call it like cartomancy, which I looked up is an actual thing.
Yes.
I didn't know if it was a Dan Abnett made up word.
Yeah.
Because he likes to do that sometimes, and we all know what it actually is like kind of meaning.
Prometheum, low sticks.
Yeah, exactly. So cartomancy is like all of the shit that you think is pretty cringe, but in 40K actually has meaning, like astrology, like your sign, palm reading, looking into the fire, like Ouija boards.
Gypsies. Okay.
Yeah, that kind of shit. But in 40K, Lorgar, or 30K, Lorgar's doing that, and it like actually divines meaning from it. So he's doing that.
Well, he's not the only one doing that. So.
Yeah, the whole planet's doing that.
Yeah,
they're all worshiping him.
And then we can go back to Terra and talk about who's doing it there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he learned some stuff. Lorgar does from mostly. Well, there's normal people that are there that do this shit, but then his Marines do it too.
What did you get about so there was the revelations that they were making was like the 5 thrones, the Bloody King nailed on the throne, and then there was the 7 hammer. What did you? I didn't get that reference.
The talisman of 7 hammers.
Yeah. Oh yes,
from
the end
Vulcan,
of the world.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now. Okay. I catch it now.
Yep. He talks about how him and Erebus do not together don't think that Horus is the one that's going to pull this off.
No, because they tried the coup before.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't really do anything.
He's
more of a thought.
Yeah. And
Lorgar will make a big deal about it.
Yeah, Erebus tells, I don't know how he gets this across, probably in some crazy cartomancy way, tells Lorgar that he has a replacement in mind, and obviously they refer to him as the Despoiler. It's obviously Abaddon.
Yeah, it's Abby. Yeah.
The Despoiler, it seems to be like whoever the Despoiler is like fulfills the role of like bringing down the Imperium.
Yes, it's his job.
So it was supposed to be Horus, but doesn't end up happening, obviously. So Erebus is sort of lining up and grooming Abaddon for this role on and off throughout this whole thing. Throughout the whole like Siege of Terror, really.
Yeah.
So What does it cut to after that? Because I had this problem where I was like, I'm just gonna listen to the book, and I fucked it up because I was like, I'm like gonna purely just listen to this for the pure enjoyment of listening to it and not take notes, because usually I listen to them and I'm like pausing, taking notes, writing down thoughts.
So after that, we go to the Blood Angels.
Okay.
Yeah, and we see them go nuts.
Bug shit.
Yeah, that's when we get the full berserker ripping apart friend and foe alike with their hands, like that. What was it? Was it Ezekiel? Was it? Who was the first one we go to?
Was it? No, it wasn't Raldoron, was it?
It was Raldoron.
Okay.
Yeah, and he just started like banging against the door, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
we are in a world of trouble right now.
And they are monsters, like can't be
monsters.
stopped.
Can't be stopped. Like there was parts where they were talking about in the book where they're like literally watching them get shot point blank by bolters, and they're really ripping the throat out.
Yeah, they're like purposely just drop all their arms and like are biting and tearing with their fingers, and just like bite one guy's like head almost off, like clean through his neck.
The
almost.
World Eater that was like full berserker mode himself, just ripped in half. I'm like, oh boy, we got a lot of problems today.
Not fucking around.
No.
Problem is they're like with a bunch of other allied Imperial forces,
and they start slaughtering them too.
Yeah. So it goes to who's the guy with? I feel like Fafnir Rand is the first one. Which one's with Fafnir Rand?
Hold on.
There's so many names.
I should have wrote this down.
It's not Amit. Amit's
somewhere else. No, this is who's I keep wanting to say Ezekiel, but it's not. It's like Ezra Kyle.
Something like that.
Yeah, he's with him, and he literally gets blown back by something.
No, it is Raldoron, because he's
it is Raldoron. That's right, because he gets knocked down.
Yeah, I remember him saying like here's like this golden person. I remember him describing. I remember Dan describing this person, like this golden figure, going batshit insane. I'm like, oh, it's a fucking sanguinary guard.
Yes,
like
or it's a sanguinor.
Yeah, going insane.
That was a conversation I've had too lately. It's like, is Raldoron the sanguinor? So
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Does he meet he doesn't meet his demise? Does he?
No.
Yeah. So I don't know what happens there. A lot of stuff.
There's a lot of theories.
Yeah, a lot of theories.
Yeah, okay. So that's where you see that, and then it cuts to just a lot of the battlefields where you kind of, it's like a tumbleweed of a battle with Fafnir Ron and Raldoron. Fafnir trying not to kill Raldoron, trying to fight off traitors.
Yeah,
while
at the same
Raldoron
time,
is murdering things
everything
left and right. Can't stop himself, and they're literally just falling through battlefields and dimensions and locations.
Yeah,
it's just this nonstop.
Yeah, it's like a catch up. Like, okay, we're gonna check back in with everyone. We're like, where were we last time? When we got, now that we're checking back in, and like
on Sunday's last episode.
Yeah, exactly.
We see Fafnir falling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a Dragon Ball Z episode where it takes like 20 years to figure out what the hell happens.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that happens, and then
actually, montages of Cuckoo.
Yeah.
And then it goes to Dorn and Acte.
Yes.
So Dorn pulls Acte out of the rubble.
Yes.
And who has literally been dying on repeat since she got collapsed on. That is so horrible to think of. And so her brain is kind of she's kind of fractured. I think she joins with that Moriana.
Okay, so in the little band that Alanius person calls the Argonauts, there's like his favorite person was this chick that he nicknamed Kat that came with him all the way from Calth. She and Acte is like untrusted, like a not when she comes in, she's like not trusted by the gang. Mm-hmm. And to solve this, Kat is like some sort of a psyker. Acte is a much more powerful psyker, but she lets Kat look into her mind and like opens it all up just so that everybody knows what she's about, and she's not there to fuck them over.
Yeah, she's kind of a neutral. Yeah.
So Kat, while this link is going on, Kat dies.
Yeah.
And then she also gets buried like in the rubble, right? And then at this point, I think like she keeps dying, coming back.
Yeah.
And her head is like completely fucked up. So now she's sort of like this amalgamation of both of those people.
Yes. Yeah. So and then we have Dorn who digs her out, and then she tells Dorn that Sanguinus has died.
Yeah.
And that this is what's going on, and it's not good.
Yeah, and Dorn doesn't have any option but to believe her because he's just sort of stepped out from his like eternal. He just finds this chick there, and he's no choice but to believe her because it's like, well, what the fuck else am I gonna believe? Yeah, what are you gonna say? Helps her out, and he gives her like I don't know what, but it's like some sort of badge that signifies like if you have this, like you're speaking with the authority of the Praetorian. He says like I need you to go rally anyone and everyone that you can.
Yes.
She's like, okay, I'll go do it. So then, I believe after that it goes to the Custodes, Valdor.
It goes to Andromeda 17, Xanthus.
Oh, okay,
Foe.
That's right.
Yeah, so they start doing that whole mess, and I can't wait to talk about that part at the end.
Yes. Yeah, there's so much that could be built on in later books.
Well, there is lore for Xanthus.
Oh, really?
There is, yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Xanthus.
it's kind of like a sub note in a book. I'm still trying to locate the exact book it's in, but a friend of mine was like, no, Xanthus in quotations.
Yeah.
His character continues on for quite a while.
Okay.
Yeah. So it goes,
you would expect.
So it goes to them working on the phage, and the phage is complete, and then you have like Amon, who's, I think it was at this point is where Foe makes his move. It starts to make his move. He takes down Xanthus and
stabs him in the neck with like a scalpel or something.
Yep, and then it cuts away from them. It goes to Andromeda talking to Amon outside. Who Amon is a beast.
He's a monster.
Literally running multiple gun platforms, just casually kind of just
having a conversation, debating like the situation, philosophy.
I just had this image of like this like 70-year-old like Italian like mob boss, and like the world just gone to hell, and he's just walking around like, no, shoot over there.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
Yeah, he is badass. One of my favorite characters.
Yeah, and then we cut to Valdor and Abaddon, and I think this is like one of the key moments in the story because what is the name of Valdor's blade?
I literally just thought of it yesterday too.
Yeah, because anything it cuts or it cuts into, you learn you learn the name, you learn how to beat the enemy. He actually pierces into Abaddon, and he does not see how to beat Abaddon. He just sees 10,000 years of destruction and death in the Black Crusades. Yeah, and it literally like startles Valdor for like a second. That's all Abaddon needs, and he just like yeets him. And then Erebus
before
shows
that,
up.
Valdor and the Custodians are kind of getting worked over. They get ambushed by like the whole Justaerin. Like they're getting fucked up.
They are like the best. If you don't know who the Justaerin are, they are the best of the best for the Sons of Horus. But not only just that, they are the best in Terminator armor and everything.
Yeah,
they are the number one.
Yeah,
no one beats them.
No, for sure. So, and they're wildly outnumbered. The Custodians are.
Mm-hmm.
So they're having a hard time. Actually, it's probably due to Erebus convincing Abaddon to like withdraw. Yeah. So Abaddon like calls them back, and then they get in this crazy fight where Erebus is fucking with basically reality and spinning things, and it's crazy.
They're all like planted to the ground, but yet like he's pretty much inverted the entire platform that they're on, which is part of a broken piece of an orbital platform.
Yeah, which is somehow inside the Vengeful Spirit. Yeah. Crazy, and then basically everyone falls to the other side or whatever. Yeah. Except for. Well, basically just the Custodians, because fuck them.
The Loyalists get knocked down, and the traitors
just float down. Yeah, they just kind of like float down on the air because Erebus is space magic.
No one likes him.
Yeah.
And then we go from there. We go back to the face-off. This is where we like really first see like Big E, Horus. We have Loken there. Leetu is there. Calcitus.
Yeah.
Another just amazing Custodian.
Yeah.
And this is when we really see everything kick off. Right
here. Before we get to that though, there's a scene where they're like walking, they're like getting there. That little crew that you just mentioned is all going there. Yeah. They come across the whole company of warbearers.
Yep.
And the Emperor just eviscerates them. Just fucking melt. Like he calls down some sort of like lightning or something like that, and it hits the ground like this rolling wave of plasma, like just goes through and incinerates like hundreds of warbearers. And I kind of thought it was because it says they're like standing like in a formation, like ready to like mustering for like some engagement or something like that. And it really reminded me of on Monarchia when he like embarrasses all of them and they're like forced to take a knee, and he's like, "Watch this, motherfucker!" He just melts all of them. Dreadnoughts, everything. They just melt and crumble.
Or when he goes up against the Big E's, takes down this huge black like Cthulhu-y monster. Yeah, and then doesn't even break stride, just dead.
Yeah, everyone else is like still fighting and struggling. He just keeps walking forward. Yeah, doesn't care. He's on a mission.
Yeah, when he did not become the Dark King, or he extracted that emotion of care and like want and all that stuff.
Which reminded me at the end, there was something at the end that's slightly at odds with that, I thought. Okay. Depending on how you interpret it. But anyhow.
Yeah.
So yeah, they get there. They're like, this is the moment. The Emperor staring down Horus. Sanguinius' body is like laying there next to them. The three with him, Calcitus, Loken, and Leetu, are kind of just like in awe of what's going on. There's a Horus standing there. Sanguinius is there. Crucified. They pull him down.
And that's when
the Old Four, they call them the Old Four, but it's the Chaos Gods. Are like you can see them. They're like observing what's going on. You can see them in the background. And I don't know if like Loken and Leetu can see them. I don't think they can.
No, I think
they just drive them insane.
I think it's just Big E and
the Emperor know that they're there.
Like they're looking, because it's like
I don't think anybody else could withstand that
image of them.
Yeah.
Well, they both stole fire from the gods.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just them, but they're there. Like this place is, and Horus is described as like their anchor. in reality. And so that's why they're able to sort of be there and be present and watch this whole thing go down.
Yeah, I actually loved it because it was at that point where like Horace is doing his big grandiose speech to Dad, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a part where I was reading it or listening to it, and I was like, "Man, is Horace talking out loud, or is that just the voice in his head?"
Yeah.
And he's like interspersantly saying things to the Emperor, but the Emperor's one-liner is the best of all time. You know, why did you kill my son?
Yeah, and
he thought at first he was talking about Sanguinus, and he realized
he's talking to the old four. Yeah,
about him.
Yeah. Yep. He's like looking right past Horus into the Chaos Gods are behind him. Yeah. He's like looking right past him, talking to him. And then that really pisses Horus off that he's not even like
acknowledging him.
Not even acknowledging him. Like just not. He's like, you're dead. Like he doesn't even give him the time of day. And like Horus makes the first strike, like hits him with the talon, and like says it just knocks him on the ground.
Oh, just levels him.
Yeah, levels him. Everyone's like, holy shit! Like that's such a like crazy thing.
Yeah, the Emperor is like the most powerful being ever.
Yeah,
just gets like nuked in one hit. You're like, oh, well, this is not how I thought the fight was gonna go.
Yeah, and I had this impression this prediction going into that it was gonna be that the Emperor was gonna be outmatched, but not to the degree that he actually is outmatched.
Yeah,
Horus is so fucking powerful. It's insane, and the Emperor like just doesn't even stand a fucking chance. Like if on a level playing field, no, doesn't stand a fucking chance.
I think if he had become the Dark King,
he
could have wiped out Horus, but he would have also fallen to chaos himself.
Yeah, and I'm like that puts into perspective like how powerful the Dark King must be, because Horus is all but invulnerable. Like the Emperor is like cutting him to ribbons, and he just like immediately knits back together. Like it never even happened, and it hurts him. But he says like, just like who fucking cares?
Because I remember in the original lore, Sanguinus like put a chink in the armor so that the Emperor could get through. But I think that chink was more metaphorical. It was more like when Horus starts to like, because later on when he does things that causes his own death, because Horus basically kills him. He does it like the way he dies is his own fault.
Yes.
I think
he had it. He had it in the bag.
He had it.
He had it done.
Yeah, and Horus Big E pulls the guilt card of all time.
Yes.
I mean, what?
I can't even imagine. I'm wondering if Dan had that whole thing like lined up from the beginning.
From book one?
From book one. If they knew that's how it was going to go down.
Man, I just got goosebumps when you said that, because to think to go for that long,
I know
how it starts and how it ends, like,
I don't know. It's a long shot, but you also have to have that. Like, you have to know. You would think, I guess it was already kind of planned out, but you want to know the ending when you start something, right?
Yeah, 100%. But at the same time, that's a huge gap between book one, like I think, which came out in, was it 2004, something like that, and then to 2024. You know, it's like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know if they have that kind of foresight, and Loken almost feels like his death was retconned, because you really think that he's dead at the end of book 3.
100%.
Like, I was not expecting him to come back at all.
No.
So I almost think that was sort of an afterthought.
Yeah, because
it works out pretty well. I wish maybe the ending of the 3rd book was different, just to incorporate him coming back a little more.
Yeah, kind of like he got away or something, or like instead of being trapped on that planet and then literally going insane.
Yeah.
Oh god, I haven't read those books in years. That's so funny that you bring that up.
Yeah,
it's been years since I've read those books.
Yeah. So now the Emperor and Horus are truly going at it, and like there's observers there, they're watching. You never get, like in Dan's interview says, you're never going to get the Emperor's point of view, because he's like this unknowable.
He's alien.
Yeah, he's an enigma. Like, he's just completely, no one can relate to him. You can't understand what he's thinking and what's going through his head.
Because with Horus, I feel like you can relate in a lot of ways. I think self-doubt and like that, like just always that pressure of performing, and then you add
huge weight on his shoulders, and then it gets too much, and he's like, "Fuck you!" Like, I'm like, this is your fault.
Yeah, and it's the people you surround yourself with, man.
Yeah,
that clearly, because they were there. You know.
So, in the fight, it is from the observer's perspective, it is like way too fast and way too violent for even an Astartes or a Custodes to get involved in. Like, they can't even.
It's going through different dimensions.
Yeah,
like legitimately, it is going through
and time, different times and places. Like at some point, they're on Cathonia. Yeah, like in course, it's like, oh, this is where I grew up.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, and there's parts where you see Horus dying, and you see a lot more of the Emperor dying.
Yeah,
and it's just this constant, like they're literally killing themselves on like a fractional level.
Yeah.
Like they're just slaughtering each other on like the smallest minute atomic level.
And it's happening not just like one place at a time in different places throughout time. It's happening like thousands of like all these different battles playing out thousands of times at once, different places, different times. Mm-hmm. It's so fucked. It's the craziest thing. There was one cool part where I'd thought about this later. I thought about this in the past and just never talked about it. was if someone could, it's like a one little line that's like just tossed off to the side, but because I thought about it before I caught it. If you had a powerful enough sucker, could you wrangle an orc wah like to your own will?
So,
and the Emperor does this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
In this fight, it's like one line. It says like in some other reality, the Emperor has like taken this orc wah and is like killing Horus with like hordes of boys or whatever.
Yeah.
Hordes of orcs.
Just like pounding orcs home.
Yeah.
Go back real quick. With Favnaron, it was Ascalon.
Ascalon. Yeah, that's what his name is.
Yeah, so he is like the head of the Sanguinary Guard. That's right. Ralderon is the first company captain.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. It took me a moment to remember. Like, I had to go back in some notes here.
Yep. So that's happening. They go to all these crazy. I'm trying to think of if there's another really significant place. They go to Cathonia. They go to Eleanor, right? Mm-hmm. Where else do they go? There's like all like just crazy. They go to like places on ancient Earth, I believe.
I do believe they go back to the Emperor's early time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like on some like snow-swept peaks at one point, which I'm assuming are the Himalayas.
Yeah, prior to
the Imperial Palace being there. It's like just a completely mind-bending, fucked up fight.
Oh yeah, it's insane. It is like reading that and you're just like, or listening to it. It was just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But it's how I would expect that battle really went. You know,
yeah.
Like after like really thinking about it, it wouldn't go like the old the Emperor gets smashed around a couple times by Worldbreaker, and then all of a sudden, he pops up and just mind bolts him to death. Yeah.
So, we missed something that happened in the very beginning. Horus has some powers that are like not really. They're kind of like not what you'd expect. Like he has like this, like some sort of like weird, like dark death ray. He can like shoot from like the palm of his talon.
Oh, from the Eye of Horus.
Yeah. Well, there's that one, but then remember at the beginning he has like the. Dan has words for it, but there's like this. It's like. He says like a black, like sort of like weird, like slow motion lightning bolt that he's like. Remember, he hits the Emperor.
Unlight. Yes, the Unlight.
Yeah, and he like is like sapping the life out of him. Mm-hmm. So he has that, and
he
also
he's like
has
holding down on the ground with it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
And then there's he also has like the beam that like shoots out of the Eye of Horus or whatever, which I can't remember what Dan calls that one either, but a couple things worth.
Death ray.
Yeah, basically. So it starts in the material, and then it starts like a hand-to-hand fight, right? And then it enters into like this crazy multidimensional fight, and then it comes back to basically just a mind fight.
Yeah. And then during that time, we also have like Alanius and John.
Yep.
Are trying to get Alanius person was like or Pius, whatever you want to call him. These multiple characters. He is like, we need to go back. We need to go back to the Emperor. We need to give him the anathema. We need to give him this weapon so he can kill Horus with it. We have to do this. And John's all like, I'm not going fucking back there.
Yeah.
And they end up going back, and they end up tying the ropes, which is really key because we're going to talk about that at the end too, about the knots and stuff. But
so what happens is when the Emperor casts off the aspect of the Dark King, he like reinvigorates everyone. That is like he like, goes as far as like Rogodorn, wherever he is, but everyone in his immediate vicinity is like the greatest they've ever felt.
Yeah.
Alanius is like, I've never felt this great in my whole life. Like all my joints feel, because Alanius is like what, fucking tens of thousands of years old at this point.
40
yeah.
Years
so he's old as shit.
Yeah.
So at that time he had I can't remember which one. I think the anatheme is the original one. So now he has the athame, which is one of like the knives forged from the original anatheme that Erebus stole from the Interrex and all that shit.
The first murder.
It was broken though, and now because of the Emperor's fucking voodoo magic, it's like fixed, and he like reaches into his pocket, doesn't realize it until like they've gone back to retie the knots, and it's fixed, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit, this is like the thing that can kill anything because of the things that it's killed before. It has like this history of killing important figures.
Yep. The first murder.
Yes. So they're like, and this is the part of the blade that stabbed Horus to begin with.
Yes.
On Davin, or the moon of Davin, right?
Yeah.
And so this is sort of like one of the things that started this whole thing, started the whole Horus heresy. So he's like, we got to go back and give this to the Emperor. It's also the blade that they used to like cut through space and like teleport, basically.
Yeah, places. Which is pretty cool.
Yes.
And actually, what they use next is even better.
Yes, yes. That's another thing that just completely opens up.
Caught me by surprise at the end.
Different possibilities, right? Yeah. So then they embark on that journey. Yeah, and then
after, because that's kind of like just more of a conversation, and then they hop into the warp, cut their way through again, and they start heading back to the palace.
Yeah.
And then we go back to Ron trying to survive Ascalon and his madness of murder.
We have
because
at some point
they start hurting the Ninth Legion in between them. Like the Loyalist forces are like just keep them in between us and them, you know.
Yep. At some point when the Custodes are like in like an all-out crazy anarchic battle with the Justaerin and Sons of Horus, Rogel Dorn comes screaming in.
Oh yeah,
out
I
of
forgot
nowhere,
about that. Yeah.
yelling, tearing into the Justarin.
Yep.
And then shortly after that, like the entire Anabasis company of Blood Angels, who have obviously fallen to the Black Rage, also come in.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it doesn't really say the conclusion of that battle.
Yeah, I think it just kind of like keeps going. Like,
yeah.
So the Justarian are like overwhelmed by
I think so.
the sheer brute force and madness.
Some of them survive. Abaddon survives, and like his two most trusted lieutenants survive. Other than that, we don't really know what happens. A lot of the Blood Angels, or some of the Blood Angels, some of the more important ones, like Raldoron survives.
Yeah, Raldoron survives. Zephon, he does not get affected by the Black Rage.
He does not.
No, because he's been in pain and hurt for so long.
Yeah.
But he definitely, that was so sad when he was like sitting there with Ron, and Ron's just like, how are you like not affected? He goes, I have lived in pain.
This like whole time. This whole time. I feel it, but not to the extent they do, because I've been kind of like numb to it at this point.
Yeah, at this point, like the Zoloft's kicking in. So.
Yeah. So
and then we go to the best. I actually think this was probably some of my favorite parts of the book, which was Sigismund and Keeler.
Okay, before we get to that.
Oh, come on.
Sorry. I just want to, so we don't forget about it. Rogel Dorn and Constantine like sort of escape the battle. They're like, we need to, like, this is child's play compared to like what we need to go deal with.
Yeah, they see that massive storm on the horizon. They realize that's where Big E and H is, and they're like, hey, we're going to go for it. And they just start, well, Valdor is very badly wounded at this point.
Yeah, like limping. He can barely hold himself up.
Yeah.
Rogel Dorn's helping him along. They have some awesome banter between each other, but one of the most important things, Valdor like hates the Primarchs.
100%.
And Rogel Dorn drops on him like, hey, Sanguinius is dead. Like, this is why the fucking Blood Angels are going back shit crazy. And like, this chick told me, I don't know who she was, but she seemed to know that Sanguinius was dead.
Yeah.
And he says that he can see, like, it visibly like disturbs Valdor, and he's like, man, he says I tried not to like Sanguinius, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I love that.
I like that guy.
He's like, I think didn't you say it's like you and him are like the only two I ever were like
like respected, and he's like, I tried to not like Sanguinius, and I couldn't do it. So even Valdor likes Sanguinius, obviously. He's the fucking best.
That was the best when they were trying to walk, and Dorn kept asking him, like, let me help you.
Like, damn you. Damn you. Damn you and your help.
I remember I sent you that message. I was like, he's not going to think this is funny. But
yeah.
I am really tired. This is hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty good still. All right, so Keela and Sigismund, yeah.
When they go after the Hollow Mountain.
Yeah.
So that was really intense. Like that whole part where you see like Sigismund's like, we gotta break through these Death Guard. We have to like push forward. We have to wipe them out. And the only way we're gonna do that is we just have to like go for it. So then like you at the beginning of the whole thing, you're like, there's no way they're gonna survive this. There's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know Sigismund lives well after, but we're like, there's no way he's going to like they're gonna succeed.
Yeah.
And then the Pilgrims start attacking Death Guard with their bare hands.
Yeah.
Millions of pilgrims are
just walking into the
battle. And it's like the Death Guard are like, what do we do?
Yeah. How do we deal with this? Like, we don't have enough ammunition to deal with this.
Yeah, we don't.
And there's Marines attacking us too. Not many, but they're there.
There's enough to be annoying.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Corswain.
Yeah, they like basically find their way, like walk their way
to the Hollow Mountain, which they were nowhere near in the beginning of the battle.
Yes. Which is the Hollow Mountain is like the Astronomicon, basically.
Yes.
Yep.
And so they get there, they manage to get everyone they can inside, and then they start setting up the defenses, and Corswain's talking to Sigismund, and they're kind of going back and forth on what they're going to do, and about Typhus is right outside, he's going to...
like waiting for the next like assault to start.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And basically starts as soon as they get there.
Yeah, like seconds after they arrive. Yeah. Which, that whole battle was like some of my favorite parts of the book.
Yeah,
just their struggle alone, because it brought us back to like the more human aspect of the book instead of like gods fighting.
Yeah, it's like these guys are fighting for their fucking lives.
Like they're fighting for reality. These guys are fighting for everything. Yeah.
So it's very cool. So it starts immediately. It's so hard to keep track of when, like, what part of the book shit happens in, because it's constantly
shifting,
jumping back and forth.
Yeah. Which I think Dan did a spectacular job, because like if you notice, if you like ended that Volume 1, it didn't do that a lot.
Yeah.
And the end of that Volume 2 started doing it more.
Yeah. And this one, it's like
all
the whole
over the
time.
place. Like we're seeing, I think it's like more seeing it from like Horus's perspective a little bit.
Yeah. Some point in this, Malkador is like gone. He's on the Golden Throne. He's gone.
He's there, but not there.
He's there, but not there. He's dead, but his like soul is maybe just holding the Golden Throne.
Yeah, that's another question I had to ask you when we get to the end of this, because there was a part where they said, I was going to say, they removed him from the throne and they put the Emperor there.
Yeah.
But I didn't think anything was left. I was always under the interpretation that he was just dust.
Maybe they swept his cremains off the thing. Yeah. blew it off. I don't know, but
That's
it's
horrible.
like the throne room is like searingly hot. It says multiple times there's like the gold on the ceiling is like melting
Yes.
and like dropping and hitting the floor.
Yeah, and another character, Vulcan, man, he's just. I feel like Vulcan always gets put into that situation where you don't ever want to be.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, he gets put in responsibility of destroying everything.
Yeah.
He gets put in front of his friend. Malcador and him always got along really good.
Yeah, watching him suffer forever and
watching
die.
him just eternally get torn apart.
Yeah.
Being stuck there with custodies, I mean, come on, that's not fun.
Yeah, that's not fun. They're
like,
pretty dull.
They're pretty dull. They're statues.
Yeah.
You know, and then you just be literally having liquid hot gold falling from the ceiling around you.
Yeah.
It's raining.
Yeah. Yeah. So at some point he's like priming the Talisman of Seven Hammers, which is this like fail safe if Horus wins.
Which is a really cool name when you think about it.
Yeah, like, I don't know how they come up with that. But it basically just destroys the whole planet. Like just blows up the whole fucking thing.
It's a death switch. So yeah,
it's like if the Emperor can't have this planet, no one can. Like pretty bold statement because like it is the birth world of humanity.
Yeah.
He's about to do that, and then this lady who was Acte takes on the name Katarina because that's who she's sort of mind melded with. She's also no, she's not in the Astronomican. She through walking ends up with that
Guard Regiment.
Yeah, the Guard Regiment, and they're in the Blackstone.
Yeah, fortress.
Yeah. Well, not Blackstone Fortress. It's like the prison.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and she ends up activating it. She realizes that it is the Blackstone prison.
Yeah.
Because she's her psychic ability. She can use that as like a beacon.
Yeah.
And she uses that to channel the basically Dorn's commands.
Yeah.
She has Dorn's pendant, which is like, hey, this is what Dorn wants.
Yeah.
And she sends out the call, fight back.
Yeah, like this is the Emperor's darkest tower. You need to like stand up, like brandish your weapons and go to aid him if you can.
Everyone.
Like no matter, like this is it. This is do or die. You're either gonna help him or you're dead, regardless.
100%.
So and it's powerful enough that everybody hears it. Like they hear it in the Astronomicon.
Yeah, because that was just huge because they get the psychic resonance that goes through, and they realize that they could use that, and then we meet Cypher.
Yeah.
Again,
Vulcan hears it in the throne room. Well, he doesn't actually hear it, but someone else hears it and is like, hey, do you hear that? And then that stops him from like he is like saying goodbye to everybody. He's like, I'm doing it right now. Like, goodbye. Shaking hands. Nice to know you.
This is the second time this has happened because Aemon was about to do this with foes, like Annihilation Phase, and he was like, I have to do it. What? I'm the only one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they were like surrounded, and he's like, all I can assume is that we've lost, so I have to use the Terminus, whatever it is. Now it's the Terminus decree. But anyhow, so that stops him from doing it, and then I'm not sure where it goes after that, but
back to Horus and Biggie.
Yeah, probably it goes all over the place.
Yeah, it goes back to it, and Horus realizes that his father is not really communicating with him because more so he's just more angry at the gods, and then there's like this more just pain and death and destruction. So
basically, about the same time that this call for aid goes out, the people within it, because Astronomicon is like basically like dead.
Yeah,
can't be used. When Keela gets there, she has like the master of like the astropathic choirs or whatever, like in her band of travelers, which is like million strong, whatever.
Like the chances of her stumbling across him.
Yes.
Yeah, like all the seeds planted.
Yes. So he is like, okay, because there's like 3 Dark Angels that are trying to work out like how this thing works and how we can light it so that Gilliman and the like relieving forces know that we're here. So this guy starts helping him because obviously this is like where he worked. That was like his whole job, right?
Yeah.
So it's about this time that they realize that like if they get enough people in this place to like be thinking the same thing, it's just like all the other warp shenanigans, like it's going to create some sort of like psychic, backlash or whatever resonance within the warp. And so that's when, by this time, the Biggie, the Emperor is like basically defeated. Like he's done for.
He's done.
And they hear this call for aid, and now Keela becomes like this, basically a preacher. Like standing like on this like pulpit. They're inside of a mountain, so it's kind of hard to call it a pulpit, but it's probably some outcropping overlooking like millions of people.
She's standing up on a rock.
And she is like, they're like, listen, you need to get these people, like, it doesn't matter, just keep them like thinking the same thing. And then so she's able to like get them like fired up enough to like give the Emperor just enough like power to stand back up again.
Yeah.
Like she's basically preaching them like the Emperor must live, and they're all like sort of chanting it, right?
Yeah.
It gets a little bit crazier. Like in a little bit inside there.
Yep. A little bit more.
So there's a lot of like Horus just sort of talking to himself, and those are like some of the best. Some of my personal favorites is like Horus just like just rambling on in his own head.
Yeah, because you could. It's almost like the Horus that's trapped inside of him is like trying to feed reason. You know, because like what book was it? It was in the Siege of Terror where like Horus is like looking down upon himself in a field. He's like in white. He's in the Luna, the
white of the Luna Wolves. Yeah,
yeah, and he's battling against hordes of enemies, and like the Horus is just watching him. Like
yeah.
I feel like that little voice is like, hey man,
yeah,
you messed up, dude.
Yeah.
And then on top of this, you have Loken there constantly like guilting his dad.
Yeah.
The entire time, like you don't have to do this.
Yep.
Like I will follow you or my father. I'll follow you anywhere, but you don't have to do this.
Yep. Right about this time, Proconsul Caecaltus is fucking immolated, obliterated by the Eye of Horus.
Then that's when we find out about the mark of the sigillite that was put on them, so that
like his only thing that's left is his breastplate.
Yeah, that's where way Malcador could have like protection of them against what they were going to see. Yeah, knowing that they were going to see some horrible stuff. Yeah,
so Malcador in the first book puts when he's ascending the stairs to the Golden Throne, like he almost falls. Caecaltus catches him, and like he turns and faces him, and like symbols a sigil on Caecaltus's chest plate or whatever.
Kind of secretly.
Yeah. And he's like, make sure you bring the Emperor back. Yeah. And like, and he, what does he say? He has some lines like, I have, decreed it and it will be so, or some shit like that. Right. And so.
For I have said it will be so.
Yeah. So, but Caecaltus is fucking dead. Caecaltus Dusk.
Yeah.
He was the proconsul of the Heteron. So like one of the most respected custodians there is.
He's right up there with Valdor.
Yes, for sure.
And it takes him 3 strikes to go down.
He like gets obliterated one time, but then Horus thinks he's gone. And then he's still standing there. Like the Emperor's like keeping him alive, and then he does it again. And I think that's like the Emperor's like powers waning or something.
That's also when we have Elenius and John are there, and they're trying to get the Emperor up. So it's like that distraction from Calcitus is what gave them a little bit.
I thought it was Leto was trying to get him up.
And you're right. Yes,
he turns around and they like stumble into like the room, and they're like at Horus's feet, and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, this is bad. And Biggs is on the ground.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then Letu's over there trying to like wake up.
Like Erda sent me, you need to wake up. Like I'm gonna fail her if you don't wake up, and all this other shit. So Caecaltus dies. He turns around to face. I can't remember what happens with Leto. At one point, I was like, dude, what is going on with Leto? Like, is he dead? Like, what happened to him? He just said swatted aside or something like that.
Just backhanded. But he's trying to wake up Big E, and Horus gets to do his little mind craziness game. Like Erda's dead. Erebus killed her out in the desert. And just total jerk.
Yeah, total dick move.
Yeah, it's Horus. You left him in the first book.
So, I think at this point, the Emperor has been like crushed under one of the 5 thrones, right? So Horus built these 5 thrones.
Yep.
He makes a comment when he's like picking him up with his mind, like he's basically fucking Darth Vader throwing him around, right?
Yes, yeah.
They're allegedly humongous, big, like slabs of rock and shit, right? So he throws the first one, and he's like, well, Sanguinius won't be needing that one. Like, he's dead. And then he picks up 2 more, and he's like, well, this one was for Rogel, and this one was for Constantine, and I won't be needing those ones either, because there's no way I'm going to convert them or something like that. Yeah. That's kind of what his thought process seems to be.
They will all die.
Yeah. So the Emperor destroys the first throne thrown at him, but then the other 2 hit him, and he's like crushed under the last one. And that's when Horus is striding over to him to like finish the job, and Alpi and John Grammaticus like cut their little thing in space and like fall through it and like are like right at Horus's feet, and they're like so fucking horrified.
I just imagine like 2 mice falling in front of like a mountain lion.
Yeah.
Like it's over. Yeah. There's no coming back from this.
It's done. So
so much is happening in this moment right now. Like,
it's crazy.
There's so much. You have like John, and he's there with a lot. I always screw up his name. I call him Ollie.
Yeah.
He goes there. You have Leto, who's like cast down to the corner now. You have you have Horus like talking to his dad, who's not responding at this point.
Caecaltus is dead.
Loken
is, I think, like somewhere he's trying to get back.
He's in the throne room or the council or whatever, and he's fighting against centaurs.
Yes.
With the faces of
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's having this huge battle against centaurs.
Yeah, which I think are like the metaphorical, like the equivalent of the Sagittar, which Horus always said the Emperor was like his Sagittar.
Yes.
And so that's why they're presented as centaurs.
Yeah.
And they are presented at the place where Loken becomes a part of the Mournival, like in the like weird, it's kind of like a Zen garden type thing.
Yeah, it was like kind of like I think like a really pretty marsh.
Yeah.
And he's out there, and that's when they have him join, because they ask him the same question. It's like,
what is your name? Yeah, who you're loyal to, right?
Yeah.
So he kills them. But anyhow, that's all happening at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Leto, after he gets knocked down, he starts battling the scavengers that are trying to eat Sanguinus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fighting them off.
Yeah. With Mornaval, which was Loken's sword.
The not what's it called? There's Rubio's blade, and then what's the other one? Mornaval.
Yeah.
Oh, Mornatal.
Mornatal.
That's what it is.
Yeah, the Mornaval were the group.
Yeah.
Mornatal was Loken's blade.
Yeah.
That he gives to.
Yeah, when he saves him. Yep. Okay. So All and John appear right in front of him, and then All's holding this like unword that he was forced to like relearn.
Oh, real quick before I forget. So I just said that wrong. Mornatal was actually Horus Aximon's blade that Loken takes from Horus Aximon, and then he gives it to Leto.
Okay.
Yeah, after he cuts him down in Saturnine.
Yep. Okay. All is basically been priming this like word of Annuncia for like ever, right?
Yep.
And they sort of stumble out in front of Horus, and he's like, "Oh, it's now or never." So he like speaks this word at Horus, this Annuncia, and it like kind of fucking blasts him. Like it throws him 40 meters.
Yeah.
Like fucks him up. He's like laying there on the deck, on his back, like smoldering.
Like and he even says like the darkness starts to go away a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, what word is that?
Holy shit.
What word is that?
Yeah. I can't imagine what it's like for All gets like
wrecks him.
Punched like horribly.
Yeah.
He's just like trying to recover. John's trying to get up. John's like, dude, he's not dead. We got to get out of here. Like you didn't kill him.
Yeah.
We tried. So All gets up, says like, John, you need to leave. Like you need to go tie all the knots, make sure we get here.
Yeah.
He goes over to the Emperor and is like talking to him, and like puts the blade in his hands, like this little knife, and the Emperor's hands like fucking like humongous.
Massive, like the size of
it looks like he's like it looks like he's holding like a little plaything.
He's like, you have to wake up. I should have believed in you all along. And because if you've been reading along, you find out that All was the first War Master.
Yes, yeah, he's been there for forever, for a long time.
Yeah,
he might be older than the Emperor.
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know if he is or not, but he's very old.
Well, they say that the Emperor wasn't the first of them, but he was the strongest of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there were others like him.
He's just the one that prevailed.
Yeah,
gotcha. So he goes over, and then for a long time up until now, the story was there's like Horus and the Emperor are fighting, and maybe the Emperor's like pulling his punches because he's the Emperor and he's so badass. And then this guardsman like somehow shows up, and Horus like kills him without a thought, and the Emperor's like, "Bro, that's too far." I don't know. That didn't really make sense to me.
Yeah. And
that's when the Emperor's like, "Fuck you," kills him and like obliterates his soul. Right. Something that we didn't talk about is when Leto is fighting off. Maybe not when he's fighting off, but when they're pulling down his Sanguinius's body.
Yep.
He makes a comment like, he's not just dead. It just seems like he was never even alive. Like his soul is gone.
Yeah.
There's it's like one or two lines where it's like he's completely gone.
Like the essence of Sanguinius is gone.
Yes.
He's so destroyed.
Yeah. He's been completely annihilated.
Yeah. Going back to All, that is the image that the iconic image of the guardsman facing down Horus in front of the Emperor.
Yes.
It is Alani's person.
Who was a guardsman.
Who was a guardsman in one of his many trails and stories. And, which is, if you've read Saturnine, that was the same with Pius when he stands down against Angron and gets obliterated. The same thing happens to All. All gets turned to nothing.
Yeah. So, but before he does that, he's like, we again skipped another part because there's so many facets. When the fight between the Emperor and Horus reaches like the mind part, they're like playing tarot cards against each other.
The Lightning Tower and
so like they're playing all these cards, and each one manifests in different ways depending on how they play them and all this other shit. And Horus's deck is like stacked with all this crazy shit that he has, right? And so by the end, the Emperor is basically defeated. Cards are fucking everywhere. But when All P is giving him the blade, he finds two cards on him. One is the guardsman, and the other one is the lantern.
Yeah.
And so he takes the guardsman, puts it in his pocket. He's like, "Hey, this is like you and me. Like I'm the guardsman and you're the lantern."
Yeah.
I'm assuming the lantern is like the Emperor's like the guiding light for humanity
in the darkness.
Yes.
The Astronomicon.
Yeah.
Yep.
So so many like
goosebumps again.
So many things there.
How they painted this whole thing. Is just, oh my God.
So then he's like yelling like, "You need to get up!" And at this time, Horus stood back up. He's walking. He's like marching over to him, which probably sounds like
the Earth movie.
Yeah, an earthquake.
Yeah,
and he raises up his like las gun and just starts blasting Horus, which doesn't do anything, obviously. And then Horus just hits him with the town of Horus and just fucking obliterates him. Like it's just gone, like mist.
Yeah, he's just
dead. So,
and then right at that moment, we cut to probably one of the most interesting parts of the book, as far as just being different. We go to Cinderman and Aramin.
Yeah,
in a room alone with Mauer. I forgot about Mauer.
Yeah,
in the Sigillites repository, just sitting there talking. We never really get to know what Aramin took I would love to know
what knowledge he took.
Knowledge he took.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of neat to see a character like Aramin, who's I love Aramin. You know, he's one of my actual favorite characters in 40K. And
he's a good character.
And Cinderman, who
he's not just like this malicious murdering machine.
No.
He's like, I'm just
here.
I'm here and looking for knowledge, and like I'm not chaos aligned, but I'm not aligned with the Imperium too, because the Emperor wouldn't have us.
True renegade.
Yeah. So very cool. He's not like most traders would just walk in there and kill all three of them and just be done with it. He's like, no, like, oh, you're Cinderman. Like, I know you, like, you're like a pretty bright mind, so I'm gonna spare you, and we're gonna fucking maybe have a little chat. Okay. Once all P is destroyed, right? Horus is like dragging the Emperor's body basically to his throne that he's had set up. Yeah. He's been trying to do this like many times. The Emperor keeps like playing him, right? He's trying to like set him up on this throne. He's had this little crown made for him, and he's gonna be, I don't know what his purpose is being there on the throne.
He wants him to be his right hand man. They want to coexist.
Yeah.
Because like the part of Horus that wants to show I beat you.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be together.
Yeah.
We're gonna be buddies.
Yep.
It's like that psycho ex-boyfriend, you know?
Yeah. No kidding. So this is when Loken turns up, right? And Loken has this like super heart to heart with Horus.
Yeah, that was hard to hear because like it was like because Horus at one was mad at Loken. You can clearly tell he's like upset with him,
but he still has feelings for him. He's like, "You're my favorite." He says he's his favorite son
of all time.
Yeah,
and like he's talking to him. He's like, "You betrayed me, Gavi. Like, why would you? Like, I can't trust you." And he's like, "I didn't betray you. I stuck true to my words and what I swore I would do." And you know, it was just like even Horus is like,
"Yeah, you're like, yeah, you have some like there's reason there." And he's like, he has Horus questioning like his path that he took, and like his actual decisions, and he's like,
so I really want to say real
I don't
quick,
want to kill you. Yeah,
Horus literally nails the Emperor to a chair.
Yeah,
literally nails him to a chair, and then tries to put a crown on his head, and the Emperor smashes Horus's skull open
with the
crown, and it heals almost instantly.
Yeah, it's like he's invulnerable. He cannot be killed.
Plot armor is thick.
Yeah. Well, there's also like the forecast just standing there watching him, probably just being like, "We're not gonna let you die. Like we're all so invested in this.
This is our moment, guys. We got this.
We have
this in the bag."
Yeah. So, it gets pretty crazy. So the Loken basically says, "Hey, you know, you did it." Like he's talking to Horus, and Horus has already expressed to him that he doesn't want to kill him. That he wants Loken to be on his side and be with him. Like they're gonna. Like he's gonna be right there. He's gonna be his right hand man, just like the Emperor is, right? He's not gonna have to force Loken into submission.
Yeah.
And he's like, just go stand over there and like watch and learn, and like we're gonna be okay. And Loken's like, no, like you did it. Like he's calling his bluff. He's like, I think you're a puppet for them.
Yes.
He said, I don't think you have control.
But that wasn't Loken though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he's calling his bluff. He's like, if you're really the man that I remember, if you're the Horus that I think you are and that you used to be. You've done it. You've made your point. So cast off your power. Show us that you're not just a puppet to them, right? And he's like, this is my power. I do what I want with it. But he keeps talking to him, and eventually, he's like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, and he starts letting the power go. And meanwhile, the four powers are like, don't do this.
Yeah.
This is so bad.
He keeps hearing like whispers in the side, and he's just ignoring him. He's like, shut the fuck up.
I don't need any of you.
Yeah, I don't need any of you. I'm Horus. He calls himself a god. He's like, I'm a god.
I'm a god.
And gods don't make mistakes.
Exactly. And then he's like, as the power is leaching out of him, all of a sudden he realizes that the person in front of him is not Loken. Loken is still on the floor, laying where he cast him aside.
Yeah.
And watching this in utter horror as like this black power leaches from his father, and in front of him is the Emperor.
Yeah.
Holding the anathema, ready to stab him.
Yep. So
the anathema, whatever you want. Yeah, it's got like 3 names.
Yeah, it does. So the whole thing, like the whole Loken having this heart to heart with him was like a ploy from the Emperor, and gets him to relinquish his powers, drop his guard, and so now they're like on a level playing field. At the same time, basically, the people within the mountain that is Astronomicon are like chanting, and they're like literally being lifted off the ground, like into the air, and like turning to dust.
Yeah,
like lighting this beacon. The whole Solar Fleet sees it. Guilliman sees it, so they're like all on the way now. And this gives the Emperor like crazy like reinvigoration because still not enough to like save him because him and Horus are fighting. He fucks him up pretty good. I think this is when he loses his eye.
Yep, this is where he loses his eye
because we've seen in like all the artwork the Emperor's sitting on the throne. He's missing an eye.
He lost it before that.
Did he?
Yeah. So the part where Loken turned out to be a trap is the end. No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the death.
So this is when finally the Emperor can kill him, and he says he says something to the effect of like, "I will wait for you, and I forgive you."
Yeah.
And Horus is like
screaming and roaring and like trying to suck the power back in.
Yes, but at the same time,
a part of him's like, "Kill me, Dad.
Kill me, because I know like if you don't do it now, I'm gonna like I'm not strong enough to deny this temptation again.
Yeah.
So you need to do it right now before. I wish I could not do this.
Yeah.
I wish I could be the reliable person you want me to,
Dude.
but you need to kill me right now because I can't do it.
Just because he knew, like,
Yeah.
And that's the part I always like interpreted in the lore was
Yeah.
that like Horus at the end knew that he was like, I messed up.
Yeah.
Please.
He knew that he messed up when he could finally see clearly again. He was like, "Oh shit."
What if I look at the madness I've created? You know.
So he has genuine regret about it, and so he's relieved that the Emperor can kill. So the Emperor drives the, I believe this one is called the Athame.
Yeah.
Into Horus, kills him. Done for. Right.
Yeah. And then like everything, like the four powers just go nuts. And
yeah, this is when there's a huge backlash.
Yeah, huge. But this is also the moment which we had talked about before the show. So for years, I've always wondered. I knew that the Ninth Legion or the Blood Angels had fallen basically to complete madness at the death of Sanguinus, and I wanted to know how did they come back.
Yeah, because
what was the moment? They're just savage butchers right now.
And the whole line for the most time is like, "You fall, you're done.
You're done.
Unless you're Mephisto, basically."
Yeah, we can just do it twice. You know?
Yeah.
But plot armor.
Yep.
So basically, the death of Horus that sends such a huge psychic backlash actually brings back all of the Ninth Legion. It brings it back to normal. Basically.
Yeah, I like to think because it says that he is the god's anchor in reality. So once he's gone, like the potency of like the warp and the psychic whatever that the Blood Angels are feeling because they're basically like bathing in the warp.
Yeah,
like it's like toned down a ton because like it's gone. It's like all of a sudden it's shut off because Horus is dead.
Just a big light switch just goes off.
Yeah.
And like you start seeing reality start to come back. This is where you see like the Death Guard like start falling back from the Hollow Mountain.
Yeah, they were actually like immolated because like this huge like searing light can be seen from like orbit and like in space because like of the what's going on inside.
I would have loved to see Sigismund reach Typhus. I don't care.
Me too.
We know they wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
You know, both sides would continue on forever, whatever. But it was just like
even if he did kill Typhus, like Typhus would just be reincarnated again. So it'd be really great just to have Sigismund have that small flex on him. Yeah.
Sigismund's awesome.
He is awesome. One of the best. So that all happens.
Yeah, then we kind of cut into like at that moment it goes into like kind of like a short little jump around of like what's going on with like some of the characters. Like we go back to actually Raldoron. We actually go to Raldoron this time. He's in a tunnel surrounded by gore and just bodies and everything. He's like covered head to toe in blood.
He's like, what the fuck is going on?
And I can't remember the name of the Space Wolf captain or
Sartak.
Sartak is there. Yeah. Sartak's like walking at him holding his axe
he's
up.
Like, are you okay?
Yeah, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah.
You want to talk about this?
Yeah, he's like, why does the trail of bodies like end here? And he's like, because that's how far you got.
Yes, I love that. I'm like, oh, that is the most horrific thing I have ever heard.
Yeah. He's like, just covered in gore. So another like round of check-ins with everybody. Now it's like this is when like the time of like holy shit. Total speculation begins.
Yeah, this is the Dan madness begins at this moment. So we see Dorn and Valdor reach the Emperor with a bunch of other custodies, and that they manage to get together. The Vengeful Spirit is attempting to leave the planet. You have Biggie's laying there. They think he's dead. Initially, they're not really sure what's going on. They know he's like really close to death.
Yeah.
And then Leetu starts walking around picking up the tarot cards and sees like the throne, the light.
Yeah.
And he realizes that we have to get the Emperor to the Golden Throne. This is where he needs to be.
Yeah, and Dorn's like, duh, dude. Like, that's the only thing that might sustain him.
That might keep him alive. And he's like, because Valdor's like, I don't believe in that, what's it called? Sigillite magic or whatever. Yeah. So like they're going around, and Leetu's collecting the tarot cards at this time, both tarot cards, Horus's and
he does get both of them. Yep.
And so you see them all there. They're trying to get back to Terra, and they finally get like a beacon from whatever the main base can like extract them through teleportation, and they're like, okay, cool. And then Loken, stays with his father.
Yes, stays with Horus.
Someone must guard him, and I was just like, in that when I first read those words, I knew how this was going to go.
Did you?
I just knew it. I was just like, or I first heard him say that. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah. What's cool is that the Emperor probably could just read Loken's mind, but like, there's no disconnect between when the Emperor is playing Loken and when Loken is playing Loken. Like, it is like Loken really still deeply cares about Horus because he knows that. And that he's like was not being himself because someone else was influencing him. So
Yeah.
they could get him back.
Yeah.
He was still in there the whole time.
Yep.
The real guy was, but
he knew
he was there.
He knew he was there. Just things happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. So, anyhow, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
All right.
I will pause. Okay, we're back. Yeah, nice moment to gather our thoughts here.
Yeah.
There's a lot to go over.
There's a ton to go over right now. There's a couple things I want to talk about real quick. Things that they don't go over. What happened to land? Where's Arkan land?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it does fit my theory is still that Belisarius Cawl and Arkan land are the same person.
You think so?
I'm not backing down.
Not backing down.
I'm gonna stay with it.
That would be cool.
Yeah, we're gonna get an origin story eventually.
Yeah, because this is like the time of Cawl, like it was short, like now or shortly after now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is where he starts to rise. We get kind of a quick wrap up of a bunch of characters. Names aren't popping up in my head right away, but we don't find out what happened to Shibin. Like, there's
Shibin Khan, yeah.
There's like he becomes the master of the hunt, and he's still fighting for Lionsgate. That's the last we know.
Did he see? Was it him that saw like some, like after? Because when Horus dies, like the gifts that all of the traders had received, like what was invigorating them so much, is like gone immediately, and they're kind of like.
I thought that was Sigismund that was talking about that. Like he noticed a distinct change in the front lines. Like
he said like they
just were scared.
Like they just were like fuck, we lost. Like all of a sudden they're in a rout. Like it changes immediately.
And then it goes going back to like the lore that we've known for years is like they always blamed the Sons of Horus for the failure because like they extracted, but it sounds like everyone at the same moment were like we gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta get out of here.
We gotta like drop smoke. We gotta go.
Yeah. So. What I was getting at is, I thought during the end of it, like it may have been another White Scar, like saw some like I don't know if they're called like outriders or whatever, like fly over, and he was like, "Oh, I wish I was one of them," because they're like going like hunt traders, something like that.
Yeah, but they didn't say it was Shibin.
Okay,
they did talk about another.
Who was it?
Chikara.
Something. Yeah, something. Yeah. They have crazy names.
Yeah. Mongolians.
Yeah. So, as it hit me afterwards, like, oh shit. The first line of the whole series is Loken talking, saying, "I was there the day Horus slew the Emperor," right?
Exactly.
And it was a joke at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was actually. Now, when that happens, he was there.
I think that's like you're talking about the retcon. Like after that's such a significant line, like they couldn't have Loken be dead at the end of book 3, so they had to have him there at the end.
Yeah, and I was like totally missed it until
Could you imagine
afterwards. Holy
talk?
shit!
Like the roundtable talks they did at this, you know?
Yeah, I know.
When they sat down, because like they were talking about, and they did the interviews for the Siege of Terror before they started coming out.
Yeah.
And they were talking about like they all got together. You know, you have like ADB, Gav Thorpe,
John French,
you know,
Dan
and Graham McNeil. So
yeah,
like, you have like a lot of the original guys for Black Library plus John.
Yeah, imagine sitting at that table. Oh my god,
listen to that conversation.
Yeah,
like okay, Nick Himes in the middle of it all with a notebook going, "This is what's happened so far."
Yeah, that's crazy. That'd be awesome to see.
Oh, yeah.
So Loken was there both times.
Yep.
And technically the second time he didn't kill the Emperor, but he did what he didn't for the most part. I mean, the Emperor's not dead, but he might as well be.
Yeah.
Well,
the Emperor was trying to get Horus to kill him at one point. Remember that? Like Horus was like could tell that the Emperor was trying to.
The Emperor wanted to die at one point.
Yeah.
Before like he was reinvigorated.
Would he have come back? Because he is a residual as well. So like, would he have come back fully, or would it just ended everything?
I'm assuming it would have ended like everything because Horus, just like he killed Sanguinius for somehow would like just scour the Emperor's soul. Yeah. But the Emperor is also like a singular being, like none of the rules apply to him. So who knows? Who knows for sure?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
So Loken's there, and Abaddon shows up. This is like very end of the book almost. There's a bunch of shit in between this. Abaddon shows up with a couple of his Justarin, right?
Yep.
And just like Loken was talking to Horus, they're just talking it out.
Yeah.
He's like,
it's like the shock is just set in. Like Abaddon walks in. Abaddon loved Horus just as much.
Yeah.
He just doubted him.
Yeah, he doubted him.
Yeah, and I think
this is when he totally like, fuck him, I'm done with him.
Yeah, and he was just standing there, and he's just like looking at his father's body, and there's another moment, like just like in Saturnine, where there was a chance to fix everything.
Yeah.
In one swing, because like Loken is telling him, like, because Abaddon tells Loken, "I'm not going to kill you, Loki.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go. You can do whatever you want." And he goes, "If you let me go, I'm going to dog you and just keep reminding you over and over and over again. You can choose not to.
Yeah.
I surrender now."
Yeah, and he says, I'll go to Dorne and plead your case.
Yeah.
I will like be your representative.
Yeah. In worst case scenario, you get killed quickly.
Yeah. And Abaddon's like, it seems like he's really thinking about it. He's
Yeah.
really like, maybe this is like the right thing to do. And then he's like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep fighting.
I'm too far gone.
I'm just gonna keep fighting.
Yep.
I'm just gonna keep going.
And right about that time, that fucker, dude.
Yep, here it comes. I knew. Yeah.
Yep. Like a blade is, and you think. I was thinking when it happens that because the two just staring at the time were like flanking Horus and about to attack him, and Abaddon's like, "No, don't.
Yeah.
Like stop." They're kind of standing there face to face, and then all of a sudden, like a blade is like driven through the back of
like
Loken.
Blood bursts out of Loken's mouth, and then he's going down, and there's
He's
Erebus holding another one of these weapons that wipes out existence.
Presumably the one that Horus or the Emperor used to kill Horus because they're right there.
Yeah, so this goes back to the multiple threads talk with like John and.
Or maybe he found. I'm assuming because he didn't have one because all had his, right? So I'm assuming that's where he got it from.
Yeah, well, he had one he was using to chase after all and the Argonauts.
Okay.
You remember because he kept like the knock. Knock.
That was him.
Knock. That was him. That was Erebus chasing them through time.
So either way, he kills Loken, and Abaddon's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why did you do that? He's so pissed off. Yeah, Erebus is so lucky to be alive. He pushes Abaddon's buttons all the time.
He pushes everybody's buttons.
Yeah,
man. He's almost like, look at when he killed Argotal, and and then Karn had him. Karn had him on the ground, was about to finish him, and then Erebus did his little ship thing.
He's a fucker.
I hate him.
So, but Erebus says that this had to happen because he explains to Abaddon, like, do you know how a demon's born? And he's like, no, I don't, thankfully.
Yeah,
but he explains to him anyway.
That they're not born.
That they aren't born, but when they are born, they kind of exist forever, but they weren't really born because now they exist. They were always there, right? And
demons are made, not born. They happen from an act or an action. So the killing of Loken has now just created a demon that will forever be there with you.
And it's Samus.
Yeah.
He says,
again, Samus is back, man.
He says Samus is like, Samus is the one behind you.
Can we just say that was probably the lamest fight? Like with Samus and Loken. I was
kind of like, my mind was kind of like, what is going on here?
Yeah, I stopped believing in you, and now you don't exist. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, this is a demon that's been there since the first murder, and you just don't believe in him magically.
Yep. So this is allegedly like the kill that it is like a shocking, like ridiculously like unneeded thing, right?
Yeah.
But Erebus knows that needs to happen to create Samus.
And to put Abaddon on the right path.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get all the cogs aligned for 10,000 years of destruction.
So I'm wondering if in the future, maybe he's in books that I haven't read, if Samus plays a role somewhere.
I don't ever remember hearing his name outside of Horus Heresy.
Neither do I. Yeah. Okay, this is a big one. Do you want to go about Cinderman at the Hall of Lang? And
so this is a huge one for me because I've been a big Dan Abnett fan for years. So I like Dan always plants little seeds from his other works in works that he's doing.
Yeah. This is a big seed.
This is a huge seed because this actually fits the lore. So you have Cinderman. He's there. He's about to leave, and he's talking to was it Mark? I can't even remember his name. They're about to
Mauer.
They're about to leave, and there's that girl that they had met, who's like pretty much the caretaker of
She's the archivist. They call her. Yeah.
And as Cinderman's about to leave, he turns around and goes, I never got your name. And she says, Lillian Chase.
Yeah, her name is Lillian Chase.
And if you don't know who Lillian Chase is, and you've never read the Eisenhorn books, or there's even a connection in the Gaunt's Ghost series with House Chase.
Really?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. There's another connection, too.
Yep.
So there is this huge, like, reveal. Lillian Chase is, like, one of the big bads of the Eisenhorn and Ravenor, and even the Beckwin book, she's still a relevant character, even though we don't know where she is by the time of Penitent.
Yeah.
But like, dude, that when that line dropped, I paused it, went back and listened to it again.
Yeah, me
and
too.
I was like,
holy shit.
Damn it, Dan.
Yeah.
Because in the lore, that's how it all started. It was during the end of the Chaos, the end of the Heresy. Someone
Yeah.
stole the information from the library and then used that. That's how they get the Annuncia and
Yeah.
all of that.
Because she's like, and I don't know if she's the founding member or not, but she is like an elite, maybe the highest member, especially at the time of Beckwin. She seems like she's like the end all be all of the Cognite, which is like this
Illuminati.
It's like an Illuminati. Like if the Inquisition, they're like the yin to the yang of the Inquisition. Like the Inquisition is like trying to keep fucking a hold on everything, keep all the secrets like in, and the Cognite is like out there, like steeped in like the secrets, like super esoteric knowledge of the warp, like this elite society of people that are really dangerous.
Yep.
And directly opposed to the Inquisition.
Yeah, and by the time
she's the leader.
Yeah, she's like one of the main heads. And by the time you get to Penitent, you find out that the Cognite have been pretty much disassembled by the King in Yellow.
Yeah.
And Valor.
Yeah. So again, more of that happening here.
Yeah, we go to see, after that, we see Leetu sitting in a room going through the tarot deck that he had built, waiting to be interrogated, so we don't really know what happens to Leetu.
We don't know what happens. He says he's going to like read a spread or whatever, and the first card that he picks is the Revenger.
Yeah. My first thoughts were like, I wonder if he becomes like Primaris Alpha that's hanging out with a Belisarius Tall.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I can't find any connections there other than the fact that this is a proto Space Marine that is still alive at the end of the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Revenger means anything. If it is saying like, hey, now we're gonna like maybe the next series. There is some talk about the Scouring that Dan goes like the book says like.
Well, that's something I want to talk about.
The Scouring is now beginning or something like that.
Yeah, that's something I want to talk about too. It's like usually when a book company finishes a big series, they already have a series going.
Lined up.
We don't have anything right now because the Dawn of Fire did not do well.
That's what people said it kind of fell flat. I haven't read any of it.
It's pretty baseline. Yeah. And then you have Caiaphas Cain can't go on forever. Dan's probably got 4 more books for Gaunt's Ghost.
Yeah.
Pandemonium, when that comes out, that's it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of huge series.
People are wondering what's going to be next. And like it seems like the most popular choice is the Scouring.
Yeah, we'll see the death of Gilliman, and then we'll see
which we've kind of seen that already. But well, just that like the moment like right then.
Yeah, like we actually see the battle of Fulgrim and him, and then we'll see like
him getting owned. He's total hubris.
Yeah,
he can take on Fulgrim.
Yeah, Jagata Khan going, I'm going to go into the webway. And good luck, bud.
Yeah. So that's Leetu. He plays the Revenger. I don't know what that means. You can fucking maybe it means nothing. Maybe it's just Dan fucking with us.
I always thought it was like was Gilliman's called the Avenging Sun, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's some connection with him linking up with Gilliman and
maybe
40K. Who knows? Like,
maybe
it's so many possibilities.
So many possibilities. Then it cuts to Aemon. Who is the other custodian with him?
Just him by himself when he's with Xanthus.
Yeah, but there was another custodian there at some point. They link up. Anyhow, it's a moot point. He's with Xanthus, and is the other lady dead?
Yeah, Andromeda, he got killed.
That's right.
Foe killed Andromeda, tried to get away.
With the thing in the face.
Aemon
melted her face off.
Pierced him to the side of a flyer with his sword.
Spear. Yep.
And then you go back to seeing Xanthus like burning this material in a tube, and it's called the Xanthus.
Yeah, because remember, there's a super funny part in the second book where Foe is like, they know, like they need him, and Foe is like crazy smart, like ridiculous person, and he knows that he's like indisposable, and so he's like cracking jokes and shit the whole time, and so he uses Xanthus. Xanthus is like one of Malcador's, probably like Malcador's right-hand man, like chosen. Number one. Yeah, he's the chosen. And he like gets like a DNA swab of Xanthus so that he can like make this baseline for this phage. It's supposed to kill everything or kill like all the Astartes and Primarchs and shit.
Yeah.
And he has like this big vat of like genetic material, and he's like, "Hey, I reckon there's more Xanthus inside that vat than there is outside to him." And he's standing right there, and he's like so pissed off that.
But then you realize that he was making a clone.
Yes.
That Foe could put himself into.
Yes.
When he died.
Which he did.
Because then he's like, at the end, it switches back to the Foe's voice, and you're like, oh, crap.
Yes.
So there is some lore on what happens after the heresy with Xanthus. He becomes like a very radical inquisitor.
Oh, really?
And he's end up like burned at the stake many years later.
No shit.
Yeah.
So that is actually Foe.
Yeah, it's Foe.
Becomes an inquisitor. That's interesting.
Yeah, because the Inquisition starts about this time.
Yeah, Cinnamon's the first inquisitor.
Yeah.
And it talks about that. It primes him. It says he's thinking about like the future of
knowledge.
Yeah, the future. Yeah, exactly. The future of the Imperium, and how there's certain things that people should know, certain things people shouldn't know. Who's going to keep these secrets? Who's going to make sure they don't get out? Yeah. He becomes the first inquisitor.
It's really an awesome moment because it's like I said in the first book in Volume 1. You really see 30K die.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the line
like right now, like at the very end of the book, it's like 30K is dead, and now we're setting up 40K.
Yeah, now 40K is birthing from this right at the moment because like in the first book in Volume 1, I mean, the moment when they said they crucified Titans on the walls, I was like, oh,
holy
it's over.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, and then they find like knights hanging from, and it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, imagine crucifying a Titan.
Imagine seeing that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And just like riding up, being like,
oh, fuck.
Oh. And then you're like, how big is that fucking wall?
Yeah, that's a big wall. So basically, they're packing up all of Foe's stuff and taking the Terminus Decree. He says he thinks he's probably going to go to Titan, which is obviously where the Grey Knights are. It's obviously the Terminus Decree. So we basically know what the Terminus, long shrouded in mystery. Yeah. The Terminus Decree is Basilio Foe's phage is supposed to kill all the Astartes and Primarchs and shit.
But then we go to Sigismund and Keeler and at the throne, and then we see them putting the Emperor on the throne. This is the part we were talking about where they just like wipe away. We go to Malcador seeing the Emperor going on the throne.
Yes.
And there's this moment where he's like, they don't know how significant him being on the throne is, because he's actually keeping everything together.
Yeah.
Not just the light of the Astronomicon, but he is everything.
Yeah.
He is like, if he goes off that throne, it's over.
It's done for.
It's just gone.
Yeah. So he gets, so Malcolm dies, officially goes away for sure.
Yeah, which was kind of like and I'm gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like he knew that his body was gone. Like, he was basically dead, but he was just like observing, like his soul or whatever was still observing what was happening. Probably due to the Golden Throne, as it did say that it gave him a perspective that no one else could have. Mm-hmm. Valdor is sitting like in his chambers or something like that, contemplating. Oh, he's thinking about all of the things that his spear has told him, and wondering if they're true or not. But then he tells himself that he knows that it's true, because that's just the nature of the spear, that he knows that it's true. Yeah. That's it. That's like the last thing we hear about Valdor, which I thought was going to be a little bit more of a drop as to what.
I kind of thought we would see him like standing on a broken wall, looking back at the Imperial Palace, walking into the nothing. That's what I kind of thought we would see, like riding off into the sunset.
Yeah. So when Horus dies, it says that the inevitable city like slowly like returns to the warp, and it says that there's some pieces that never like make it back all the way. Yeah, which I thought
was like it corresponds with like Abnett and like Penitent when they walk through doors.
Yes, and like when they go to this place, and when I heard that, it hadn't got to the end yet. I was like wondering if like Valdor just like sank into the warp with the inevitable city or something like that, and that's where he is now. Yeah, and maybe that place that Beckwin finds is the inevitable city, because it kind of describes it. It's like this humongous fucking place. It's like incomprehensibly huge. And there's like, you could tell the battles have been there. Like it's a part of the Imperial Palace that was so soaked in the warp that now it's part of the warp in its own realm. Yeah. So that's my call for that book for Pandemonium, is that where he is the inevitable city. Yeah, I think I do really think we're going to see him. I think this is how the King in Yellow is definitely going to be Valdor. The question is, how does he get there? Because the last we see him, he's just contemplating what he can really take as truth from the spear, and like what he's learned, I guess. Yeah, and that's 100%. I was kind of hoping, like you said, I just want a little bit more. Yeah, just a little bit more. There was like some of these. It literally says like some of the parts of the inevitable city are like stuck on Terra. Yeah, and that someone in the future may come across them and like do something with them or whatever. Like they're going to be found at some point. Yeah. That's all we got though. That's all we got. That's it. We go back to Kat, and she's with that regiment, which I cannot remember the name of that regiment's name, but I feel like they're prisoners from the Blackstone, or not from the Blackstone, but they're prisoners. They're Penal Legion. Yeah. But then she ends up getting them. She's like, "Oh, you're not Penal Legion." Like they kind of like talk it out. She's like, "Oh, I have the authority of the Praetorian." Like all this stuff is lost. Yeah. So who's gonna know anything different? And then we go, so they get renamed. But I'm trying to remember the name of that name, because I feel like it probably has some sort of significant. Importance. Yep. I'll have to maybe go back and listen to that. Then I think the last thing we see is John Grammaticus, who is like on this eternal mission now to tie the threads. And he's back in the cave when the Emperor was a little boy. Yeah, and I'm assuming that this is when, if he was there, like he's doing it so that whatever his name can find the way. I'm assuming that All P was there too. Is that right? Yeah. That's what I got. Well, he's by himself at this point, but All P, like, Ollie's not there yet. Not okay. Yeah, so I'm talking about in the cave. Yes, I think it's just John by himself. Yeah, just John. But I'm wondering if he is leaving the thread because both the Emperor and All P are going to be there. I think so. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I do think that's going to be a significant moment. Yeah, this is like super in the past. This is like caveman era. Yeah, so like paintings on the wall with like berry juice and shit. Yeah, like 40,000 years in the past. Yeah, that's what I gathered too. Like, but then it goes to John is not a residual anymore, so he's going to die. He's going to die. Like when he dies, whenever his death is. I think he's still maybe immortal. Maybe not gonna die from old age, but when he dies, it's the last one. Yeah, it would be the end. Yeah. But the coolest thing about this is he's using a feather from Sanguinus' own wings to cut the fabric. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my god. Yeah, because there's one of those in 40K. The Blood Angels have it. Mm-hmm. So that tells you where did John end up. Yeah, I don't know, or unless they recovered one somewhere else. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, because they do take Sanguinus' body back to the ball. Yeah. Oh wait, don't they bury him on Terra? Doesn't he have isn't his crypt on Terra? Maybe, I don't know. Probably because they take him back with the Emperor when they. Because you're listening to Emperor's Legion right now, right? Yeah. And that's like the big battle when Chaos pops up, and isn't he fighting the main custodian fighting in front of the gates to the tomb of Sanguinus? Probably. I can't remember now. Yeah. But anyhow, that's like the end of it. Yeah. Well, the end of it is actually like Abaddon trying to get away with the vengeful spirit. He's got it, and he's trying to get out of there. And that's how it ends.
Yeah.
It's a crazy, crazy journey. I almost feel like kind of lucky because now people going forward will know. They'll know, how you get like bits of lore. You don't actually read the book, but you know the lore because you just absorb it from here or there. People are gonna read, like people getting into 40K now or Horus Heresy now. This is the lore that they're gonna get the bits of. It's not gonna be any changes or anything like that.
Yeah.
And to be like ready for it to come out and waiting for it. Not that it's like really a privileged thing, but you almost feel like lucky, like I'm in it, like I'm experiencing it as it happens.
Yeah, I remember when it was a paragraph, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
just
a paragraph. Like there's the Scardsman, and Sanguinius, got like one blow in on Horus, and then that allowed the Emperor to defeat him.
When Lehman Russ was actually a model on the table. And
yeah,
that was a little bit before my time, but I've seen the model. So it was pretty cool.
So very cool to be here when it happens. Yeah, I think I hit all the points I wanted to. Pretty happy because there's so much that's like, holy shit, we got to talk about this. This changes everything.
It's so much, man. It's like I pulled a U here, and I was trying to talk to my wife again, about it, and I was just like, I don't even know how to explain this to you without just sounding like a total idiot.
Yeah.
Because like I could just ramble for like when the part where it was like, oh, it was like Chase. I was like, what? I'm like freaking out in the car. And my wife's like,
what is wrong with you?
What's going on? I'm like, you don't even know.
Yeah, you don't understand.
There's so much here. I'm not even qualified to answer this.
Yeah. I told my wife, I was like, I have like an hour left in the entire Horus Heresy. And she's like, wow, really? I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Yeah, but I'm going to go outside.
Yeah. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I just got asked the other day by a really good friend of mine, his girlfriend, and she was like, should I read the Horus Heresy before reading the Siege of Terra? And for the first time, I said no. I was
really?
Like, just listen to just go through the Siege of Terra. It's too much to tell someone, hey, there's just
so
54 books.
Yeah.
And there are characters that you're gonna
run into
and never see again.
It might be worth there's a few characters being like, okay, you need to look up like who they are.
Yeah, there's great story arcs.
I would say
characters.
If you're gonna read the first 3 and then the Siege of Terra. Like set up.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, or read the first 3, go to Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah. Because
that's where you see that's the turning point. That's where Horus turns and starts heading to Terra, and you understand how the Emperor gets power. And all of that happens right there.
So it's over though.
It's over, man.
We will see what replaces it.
I anticipate in a year we start seeing a new series, either the Scouring or
something
like that. Yeah.
I'd like to see like Unification Wars.
Oh, don't even start with me on that.
Like Thunder Warriors.
I'm such a huge fan
Custodes, that kind of stuff. That'd be cool.
I would have been totally happy if they came out with the Unification War Imperialis.
Yeah,
I would have been like, yep, I'm sold. I'm in.
I'm in.
Totally got me. Oh, Thunder Warriors, cool.
We'll see what replaces it. Although there is a rather large Horus Heresy shaped hole in my heart.
Yeah.
That Dan talked about. He's like, I'm probably had to do some soul searching after he finished this book. He's like, I was a little bit lost. Like, this is a huge part of me was invested in this whole thing, especially this last book.
The acknowledgement part was awesome, man. Yeah. Especially he was like, I'm not trying to sound like I'm whining here, but I spent 2 years of my life working on this
one
books.
book. Yeah.
There's 3 books.
Yeah.
Well, 1 book essentially.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't print anything bigger. And then he was saying how he had to finish everything because there is not another book. And once I read that, and I was like, because I always know, because Horus Heresy's like, maybe there'd be like some afterthought book or something. But when he said this is the last book, I was like,
shit. Shit. Yeah.
The Black Book. Or that's another theory a friend of mine pointed out to me. He said, what if the next books we get for like the Scouring are from like more like the Black Books, like campaign books set in Horus Heresy.
They just give you a little bit new lore or something like that.
Yeah, kind of new history. And
I really wish I had or was on top of like all those like the Psychic Awakening books and shit like that when it came out.
Me too.
Now it's like whenever that book comes out, it sucks that it's so fucking expensive.
Oh, 100%.
But I'm gonna get every single one because there's like all the lore is really great. It's not delivered in a novel form. It's kind of more like a written history, but it's still really good.
I wish they had done it more like if you've ever get a chance to read the Forge World books, like
I haven't even seen one.
They are so amazing out there. Because it's like a history book.
Yeah.
And it's so good and it breaks down everything. And then you get like I feel like the Games Workshop ones are kind of like, here's a spattering of lore, some new rules, and like 70 pages of like missions you can do.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's not what I
want. I'd rather, like you can take all the fucking rules and missions and shit, like and cut the price in half. Just give me the lore.
Yeah.
And some like artwork.
Yeah. I would love to see like one big thick book, just like a black book, just the Heresy.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool.
From start to finish.
That'd be cool.
If it was, I'd pay for it if it's $100.
Speaking of that, did you get? Did you pre-order that artwork. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, of course I did, yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot of Adrian Smith art in there, so I had to jump on it.
Yeah, so
that's my guy.
Waiting for that. I don't know when it's going to be here, but hopefully soon. Well, we rambled on for an hour and 35 minutes.
Not bad. Way better than last time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, great episode, I think. This is awesome.
This is awesome, man. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just sad.
It is sad. But it's good to have conclusion, though, because you gotta finish stuff.
You do. I mean, I think we were like 12 books into the heresy, and we were saying things like, when are they going to finish this damn thing? And then we're like 50 books into the heresy. I'm like, it's just going to go on forever. And then all of a sudden they announced the Siege of Terra, and I was like, oh shit, wow, it's coming to an end. Yep. I was a bit bummed about some of look as a reflection. I think I would have loved to see Graham actually get a novel instead of just a novella. Yeah. The Fury of Magnus was probably my least favorite book in the whole Siege of Terra. I thought it was kind of trash. Yeah, that one or Mortis. Yeah, I didn't like Mortis either. Not super. It's not characters that you're really connected to very much. Yeah, it's hard to connect with those types of characters. Yeah. Just be like, you can never write a book from, you can't write like a Tyranids book. You can't connect. Yeah. So anyhow, we'll see what the future holds for us. And until next time, guys. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, the Warhammer retreat is coming up April 26th to the 28th. Blake and I are going to be there. Brent is going to be there too if you listen to the last episode on Eldari. So don't have any dreams of winning because Brent will probably stomp you in the ground. Real quick, huge shout out to Brent for talking about the Fantasy Flight RPGs, man. I have all of them. That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to just read through those books just to... I feel like there's some lore in those that is like you find there. Maybe. Yeah, okay. So anyway, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. All of our handles are in the episode description, as well as the link for Warhammer Retreat 2024. Go check it out. All right. Until next time. See you later.